We're here for episode 19, Convention Dimension.
Barely legal.
Oh, no.
Not quite.
19. Kids aren't. Do not sexualize these children.
Please don't. Really don't even sexualize their Japanese counterparts.
We are just a few episodes away from Curse of the Shadowborg.
Fuck yeah.
Wow.
All right. Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
'cause that's like, what, 25 or 24?
26, I think?
26.
Yeah, 26.
Cool.
And
7 episodes
we
out.
just did 19.
We opened this episode with I'm going to call it a stroller because I'm a sane person from the 21st century, rocketing down the sidewalk. Roland does his super speed and runs over and stops it before it runs into a car. It's about
it's about to hit a car. Yeah, the car's not moving.
No, it's
stationary.
it's in its driveway.
Mm-hmm.
It would hit the car. It's not on a hill, so there's no reason it should be accelerating. And the dad comes running out, and it's all the stuff in the stroller is just baby stuff. It's dolls and pacifiers and bottles. Because the dad's expecting. Roland's dad randomly runs up on the street to tell the kids that he got something for them. He got them tickets to the International Comic-Con, which is specifically the International Comic-Con you all think of. It's in Urbana City. They have tickets now. And we jump to
the catacombs, the crypt.
We don't. They're outside. We go to the graveyard, and a mailman, a newspaper boy. I'm not sure what he's delivering. This guy's just like running away, and Vexor pops up out of his grave for the first time, and I don't know how fucking long he's been in the surface world. He pops up and he pulls up the newspaper, and he's like, "Oh hey, Comic-Con's gonna be here. World-renowned comic aficionados getting together." Art Fortunes.
Only there can we spread the coronavirus. So many unwashed masses.
Oh, God.
Chimes in Typhus. You know, like the grandma.
There it is. Uh-oh. Oh, no. Typhus is going to be affected most of all. There won't be any grandma.
He's going to be spreading that typhus.
No, don't worry. I recently heard that whales aren't affected. So they can be taken out of quarantine.
Vexor specifically decides that the Magnivores are going to go to Comic-Con. They're going to kidnap Art Fortunes, who is the creator of Beetleborgs in the comics. He's the
first time we actually get some deepened lore.
Yeah, it's their whole existence. They decide they're going to go kidnap Art Fortunes and have him erase the Beetleborgs from the comics, which doesn't sound like a thing that would work. The kids have to tell Flabber that they got tickets to Comic-Con because for some reason he would know what that is. He looks like he's like holding his breath when they walk in because his head is like expanding and turning somehow bluer than it already was.
He's doing some Flabber shit.
Yeah, and it turns out he's got the hiccups. As the kids leave to go do this comic adventure thing that they're going to do, Flabber and all the monsters end up trying to do different ways to solve the hiccups. Fangula goes first, and he says, you got to give a good scare. And he does a Flabber style, like...
It's the Acme, the fucking...
Wolfgang runs him around in a circle. And that doesn't work. And then Frankenbeans comes in with an axe and says, we cut head off. Apparently, that's supposed to help.
Can't transmit a virus if you don't have a head.
The kids run off to Comic-Con. It is literally just filmed at San Diego Comic-Con. Roland's dad said he's going to go on in so the kids can go on and do their own thing. He'll meet him at the Beetleborgs table. Roland gave his dad his wallet that had his tickets in it. So they're trying to decide how they're going to get in because cell phones weren't a thing yet. Two things happen. The Magnivores are there, once again harassing a food vendor. And the kids go, hey, we could transform into the Beetleborgs and just walk in.
Not thinking, maybe we should stop the fucking supervillains that are...
Right.
No, why could we do that when we have personal gain at hand?
They wander in behind this abnormally large mascot-sized tick costume man, and they're the Beetleborgs. They're in costume, they're morphed, and immediately...
The best cosplay anyone's ever seen.
Right. A con staffer walks over. Great, like, you're here. We need you at your booth. And she turns around and looks at the booth, and there are identical Beetleborgs in the same costumes over there. And she's like, what the fuck? Call security, which is, like, not a thing that happens, like, just for someone getting in and not having a wristband, especially not in fucking 96. And we get the Scooby-Doo scenes we usually get with the monsters in Hillhurst, going around the back hallways of this convention center. They break the fourth wall, like, twice. Joe pops out of a door and says,
Piss off, Lou.
Piss off, Lou.
What she says, like, don't try this at home, kids. Which really doesn't make any sense because they're just running in and out of doors in a hallway.
Well, don't try it.
I guess no. Yeah, don't run in closed hallways.
It'll make you gay.
Is that what that does?
Yeah.
They run into one of the storage rooms and they deborg. They backblast. The security guard is like yanking on the door trying to get it and says it must be chained. Staff lady just goes behind and goes, I'll help. She gives one big thrust right into his buttock. Joe lets go of the door. They fly backwards. And then we don't get to see how they got out because the two people weren't like knocked unconscious. They just fell on the floor into some empty boxes that are.
That's what
there.
I was saying. When I was like, "How did they get out of that room immediately afterwards?" They just knocked him back. It's not like they saw him leave.
Yeah. They were looking right at the door too, and they just saw 3 kids leave where 3 presumably grown adults in Beetleborgs costumes were before. And also, I am not convinced that you would not hear some weird ass noises when the demorphing sequence happens. They're like,
man, I wonder what's going on in there.
Just like lights coming out from under the door frame. Just like there's got to be something going on. Like, come on.
And the kids walked out. They're like, "Get out of there, kids! There's some fucking Beetleborgs involved."
Yeah, they called them imposters. Like.
Impostable.
Yeah, like
I call them cosplayers.
Right. Like, I don't know, 96, I know cosplay wasn't as big of a deal, but it was definitely a thing that people did. And maybe cosplay wasn't the word they used yet, but people wore costumes to
they already had, you remember there wasn't like in episodes prior or what, who his mom made him a Beetleborg costume.
Right.
Like, of course people would have things
all of
going on. Yeah.
The shittiest Beetle brat. The kids run back out un-Beetleborged, and they run over to Spider-Man. Is giving out autographs.
In a state of un-Beetleborged.
we have thoroughly un-Beetleborged. They run over, and Spider-Man is giving out autographs. And
Spoderman!
Yeah, Spoderman is giving out autographs, which is kind of neat. It's cool to see other legitimate licensed characters, because Saban and Fox Kids helmed the Spider-Man animated series and The Tick. They run over to Art Fortune's table, where he is signing Beetleborgs comics and merchandise, and he is quite the character. Do one of you guys want to describe the suit that Art is wearing?
Nick?
I'm gonna say orange Kaiba.
Just wearing a full orange pants and sport coat and a weird green-orange tie. He's got like Einstein, Bernie Sanders hair.
He stands out in the fact that he's different, but not in the fact that he's unique.
The Magnivores run up and just kidnap him. Because apparently Con Security is really concerned about impersonators of talent coming in. They're not actually worried about their talent getting kidnapped. They summon a bunch of monsters out of various comic books in the convention. It's like just glowing orbs that fly out the door along with the Magnivores. They decide they need some magic of their own, so they look down at their smartwatch. Flabber, we are going to need some help with this. So he's like, I can bring in some reinforcements. So he uses his magic to bring more stuff out of the comics, which worked well the first time. So I'm glad they brought that back. And 2 magical glowing orbs come out of the comics and fly after the other glowing orbs. And
because there's nothing more scary or intimidating than orbs fighting orbs.
Yes. And it was really unclear what was happening after this. But I think I've pieced it together from the various wiki articles Nick and I read after our episode watching. They run outside, and then the Beetleborgs transform, so our song counter goes up to, we went back and counted, 21. They Beetleborg it up. The first 2 monsters we see are just, it's Sword Warrior, and I wrote this down because it's a new one, Cataclysmic. And I don't know how to describe Cataclysmic other than like...
He's just a dude.
He's just a weird orange, it's got a big mouth on it. It's a caterpillar monster, apparently.
If you say so.
Yeah, it does not look like a caterpillar monster. I guess
he doesn't even use like string shot or poison sting or anything.
Nope. Apparently the costume for Cataclysmic was used in the finale of Power Rangers in Space, Countdown to Destruction, which was one of like the biggest episodes of Power Rangers ever.
Yeah,
and
obviously, any
yeah.
true fan knows.
Right. His name in Juku B Fighter is Gagamoth.
That sounds like a Pokemon.
Not Gigamoth, Gagamoth.
Gagamoth. I'm gonna Gagamoth,
Yep.
dude.
And he has, but Sword Warrior, who gets his ass kicked immediately, and
As he is wont to
Cataclysmic.
do.
Yes, but then we also get purely Japanese footage, like 2 other villains.
It's really weird.
Yeah, 2 other villains and 2 what we are told are heroes, but it is very unclear.
That describes it. What we are told.
And I say what we're told purely by like the wiki because it is not clear in the episode. The American footage is using Cataclysmic and Sword Warrior, and then the Japanese footage, the Beetleborg suits are seen in like 1 shot of Japanese footage, and then the rest is all American footage. And then we just see full Japanese scenes. Karato, he's like a robot cyborg super cop. He's kind of a neat purple-looking RoboCop, cyber cop type thing. And Silver Ray, these guys pop up and they talk like, "Oh, we've got to help the Beetleborgs defeat these villains." But it's like it's in a completely different landscape and it's in a completely different setting. It's heroes that we never see American footage of. It's just like a weird choice to put that in when they had no reason to whatsoever. Sword Warrior and Cataclysmic get kicked back into the comic books. While this is all happening, Art Fortunes is like having a panic attack the whole time. Roland's dad runs out, gets Art, and takes him back into the convention center.
Yeah, because, where somebody having a panic attack wants to be is somewhere where there are dozens of people at least.
Dozens of people.
Your 3D history! Ha! We did it, guys! That's the end of Goldex and Wingar!
Karato and Silver Ray just go back into the comic. We never see them interact with the Beetleborgs.
Yeah, that's what was really weird.
It looked like a dream sequence because it was Japanese footage, so it was grainy.
And then just back into the comic. Bye.
Yep. And yeah, I disliked that entirely. And then when they're leaving the Comic-Con, they are talking to Roland's dad. I had to go save Art Fortunes from these monsters fighting the Beetleborgs and all this. They were like, "Oh yeah, that's neat, Dad." Ha ha ha. And then they had like not a freeze frame, but if it was a freeze frame, it would have been perfect.
Oh, totally, would have been.
Yeah.
We can see everything. This was fantastic. I can't wait to next year.
Did you guys like it better or worse than last episode?
Well, who was the villain of the last episode?
Amphead.
Oh, fuck no, it wasn't
villain
better than
ever.
the last episode.
It was not in any way, shape,
It was
or form.
better than the first episode. Definitely not as good as Amphead. I'd say it was better than the generic Sword Warrior, Green Machine, whatever bullshits.
Okay.
But because the story, the fact that it had the San Diego Comic-Con before it was a real Comic-Con,
right,
is what is so drawing to this episode for me personally. So I feel like it's not something they personally did, but it's the fact that in the future it's become such a thing that it's so interesting to watch in retrospect.
It's so crowded, no one will see.